Hello and welcome to the first Skullforge podcast. Today we're going to talk about exploring the world and the environment. Or should I say the island? I always call it the world, but really it's just a big island. So today we're going to do that, and my name is Garv, and this is Heather, who is going to be conducting the interview.
You're going to be grilled.
Yeah.
Here in a moment.
Yeah, well, that's what you're here for.
The only thing I'm here for?
Yeah. yeah. So anyway, we figured that it would be a good idea to just kind of get into some more detail about those exploring and what that means to the player and that sort of thing. So it's our first time doing this kind of podcast, so I apologize for any mistakes.
We might be a little silly because that's our normal thing in the other one, so our apologies if that's the case.
Well, hey. Podcasts should be interesting, right? Right?
Yeah.
Right? Maybe they'll say, Garv, you're not professional enough, man. Nobody wants to donate to your podcast because you're not professional. But I'm just me, man. Can't do anything about that.
You mean Kickstarter?
Oh, yeah. Is that what that is? Oh, crap. Anyway, enough fooling around. So, why don't you kick it off with some questions? Why don't you start with the first one?
You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. This is a difficult one. Well, not really. I'm just kidding. How large is the island? Like, the scale?
I haven't really calculated out the miles. But as far as game zones go, there are 12 zones, 3x4, and each zone, as far as the actual graphic is concerned, is what 1,000 meters by 1,000 meters or something like that. But it's pretty big. I mean, let's just say that one zone to walk all the way across at the current speed of the character takes about 4 minutes. Real life minutes to walk all the way to the other side.
And so, is this the whole zone, or is this just going to be partial zones? I mean, how are you going to do this?
It's the whole zone. At the moment, think about it kind of like WoW. You know how WoW, they've got little sections of areas, and so those little sections are their own contained thing. But when you go into a new area, it's all connected in WoW, of course. But when you go into the new area, then things change, like the lighting changes, the sky changes and stuff when you go into a new thing. It's not like that in our game, but the basic idea is there. When you go into a new zone, you go into a new place. So when I say that each zone is 1,000 by 1,000, I mean that place that you're in that's loaded into memory is 1,000 by 1,000.
But what about this one zone? Like, if I were to look at a map
Mm-hmm.
and I see this one area blocked off,
Mm-hmm.
is that the whole area that I'm going to be able to explore?
Yeah, it should be, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, unless something changes, like if we feel like it's too big. I mean, right now, I like the overall size of it. I think it's big, but I wonder, in the hands of, the player, they're going to say, hey, Garv, this is just too dang big. It takes forever to go all the way over there. And if I'm trying to get from one town to the other town, then it takes forever to get there. Then maybe we might have to either speed the player up or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I at the moment, this is what I have, and that's the way I like it. So.
Okay. Well, then you mentioned towns, so let's go to cities then.
Okay.
How many cities are there on the island?
There are two cities, Islis and Hamlin. One city is up north on the west coast, and the other one is south. Hamlin is the main city. That's where you start the game out. So the beginning of the game, we'll talk about the story at one point, but just to kind of give you a little reference, when you first start the game up, you'll come in from the ocean to Hamlin. That's the main place where you're going to start off, and probably where you're going to spend most of your time. And then at some point, as you explore the island, you'll be able to go to Islis, which is up north. There are little towns and villages around that aren't as big. And actually, at the moment, I'm thinking towns will be their own zone, but villages won't. Villages will just be in the world, because they're small, so they'll just be in the world. So when you go into a village, you can drag mobs into it.
So basically just a few houses and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, like farming communities and things like that. You know, where they're not very big, but they're on the map, so you'll be able to kind of see, you know, where those things are. But you know, it's, yeah. I think villages are small enough that it kind of works, you know, that way. I think it doesn't take you out of the, because zoning kind of takes you out of what's going on, and I think that the villages there kind of keeps you connected to the actual island itself.
Okay. So then, if we're exploring and going from city to town and town, like, how varied are these environments going to be? Like, what are we going to be wandering through while getting to these places?
So far, the island it's an island, and basically a tropical island at that. So we didn't. The problem was when we were first designing this thing is they just, yeah. I was looking at Hawaii maps and, you know, tropical island maps, and generally they're not very varied, right? I mean, there's some little mountains, and but mostly there are a lot of trees and, you know, some hills and stuff. You're not going to see snow, and you're not going to see all that stuff. So the challenge for us was, how do you make it interesting for people who are wandering around in this place? Because if it's all trees and forest, then that's not very interesting, right? Nobody just wants to green all the time. So what we did was, we're going to put a map up so you can kind of see. We'll put a map up on the site so you can kind of see it. But what we decided to do is we added some jungle area, still mostly trees. I want it at least a little bit believable, so it's still mostly trees. But we added some. The island itself has some mountainous sections, and you've seen the desert area, so that's a little desert area which is in the northern part, and then off to the down south. Actually, down south is the jungly area, and then rolling hills and plains in the middle. And then there's a river that goes all the way through. So we tried to vary it up a little bit. So as far as playing the game, you're going to go from rolling hills to some craggy type things, up to a desert and some jungly stuff. So there will be some variation there. So it won't be the same stuff.
Well, what about like swamplands? Because I know there's some swamplands in some areas.
Yeah, we have, I think, a couple of spots where there's some swamplandy place, but we haven't actually. I mean, it's on the map, but we haven't actually designed that zone yet. So, but we will have something like that too. So you'll have some things to get into, and actually by doing that means that we can have lots of different kinds of enemies and stuff, you know, running around. So it'll make things a little easier.
Okay. So let me go back to the video for a moment, because in the video you mentioned bounties. Can you explain what that is and what it's all about?
Bounties. Bounties. Basically, the idea is, in town, there are guilds, and guilds need things done, because they're guilds, right? And Desi, being the quintessential adventurer, decides that, you know, maybe she'll help these guys out for a little coin. So what they have usually is people who either took money or skipped out on, you know, paying, you know, something, or they did something to the guild in some way or something, and so they have these bounties, and you can go there and collect them, and then go out to find the person in the world. Now, of course, they don't know where they are, because if they knew where they were, then they just send some dudes out to get them, right? So, so bounties can come in a bunch of different ways, and actually, you can have a bounty. Let's say you can walk into a tavern. You walk in there, you're looking around, and you find out that the one of the guys that you're looking for is actually sitting at the bar. So, what do you do? Do you cost them right there, or, you know? So you have to handle that. So out in the world, you will find, you know, bounties. So you'll get, you know, go find Bob, and then you go out and find Bob. Now, where is Bob? You know, you're gonna have to figure that out. I did, to make it a little easier, because I don't know how that's going to work, as far as player time is concerned. I might have some little clues to help you a little bit. Where you can talk to somebody and they'll say, well, yeah, maybe I know him, and I kind of saw him over there, But, I'm going to leave it the way it is, and after some testing, I'll let players play with it. Some testers test it, and if they feel like maybe it's too random, and you're just trying to finish the game, and you just cannot find that guy anywhere, wandered all over the place, and you just can't find him anywhere, okay, then maybe we might put some kind of thing. But the goal is, while you're wandering around, you might come across that guy who set up camp someplace, and now you can catch him. And when you catch him, you have two choices. Either you can bring him in dead or alive. So either you kill him, and then in which case, you bring back a lock of his hair or something and report him dead, or you can bring him back alive. And so, that's that situation. So it's up to you to decide how you want to do that.
So it sounds like it's worth picking them up. If nothing else, then maybe you'll find them along the way.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But you mentioned that if you're trying to finish the game and you can't find this guy, are they required to finish the game?
No.
Okay.
They're just things to do while you're, wandering around, The thing is being able to go out and do stuff is kind of one of those things that is inherent for RPGs in general. So I think having some purpose to going out and doing stuff is important. So, yeah. But you don't need it to finish the game, and if you didn't find them all, it's fine. But for people who like to collect them all, because actually one of the things we'll have is a bounty list. So as you find guys and bring them in dead or alive, they end up on your bounty list. I found that guy, and you found him here, and he's dead or alive or whatever.
You gotta catch them all.
Yeah, pretty much. Think of it as like a little Pokemon. A little Pokemon thing.
So then, I know there's a section of people out there who don't like to explore the world at all, or the island. They're not into that.
Yeah.
What do you have in place to encourage folks to get out and explore?
So first I'm going to say that me personally, I'm one of those guys. That's me right there. So I always thought about, well, okay, if it was me, what would encourage me to actually go out and do some stuff? What actually encourages me to go do things in the world is having some purpose to what I'm doing. So, for example, I need to find the dungeon entrance, so I want to go out and find it someplace. That kind of thing, I think, is good to get people out there and doing stuff. Some purpose, right? Something that you need, some hook that people can go, oh, okay, wow, that's cool. And then they'll wanna go out and do that. And so that's kind of the main thing that I'm thinking about. And so I think having those kind of things, which is why we have bounties, and which is why one thing that I'll mention is that there's a planned is a guy who in town he catalogs species like he's like a lore keeper for monsters, basically. And he gets these rumors about things. And so he asks you, the player, to go out and find these enemies out there to prove that they exist or don't exist, for that matter. Because maybe they're mythical creatures or whatever the case may be. But he does not believe in killing. So he doesn't want you to go out there and kill them. What he wants you to do is to go out there and sketch them. Just draw a picture of them so that way, he can prove you saw it, it was there, and, now you're coming back with, yeah, I got it, right? So, where those things are, because they're mythical creatures, there will be a kind of hint. We saw them up in the mountains someplace. So now you have an area to look for, and you can go look for those creatures. But that gives you something to do. Now, when you find them, let's say you need to find a unicorn, right? Somebody heard there's a unicorn out there, so you go out and you go to find it. But you find out that there's a watering hole that they like to go to. So you go there, and you wait behind some bushes, and you find the thing. The unicorn comes up and it starts drinking water. Then there's in your bag there will be a thing that you click on, and that starts a little channeling thing so that you can draw. And the idea is to simulate you're actually drawing in in the thing. But timing is important, right? Because it's going to move, and they don't just stay still, right? But you still need them to do what you got to do. So there'll be something going on with that, and that can be a reason to go out there and look for things. Just wander around, see if you can find what you're looking for.
Can you spook things? Can you, if you move?
Oh yeah, of course,
gonna,
yeah, of course. So like some things, of course, obviously these things, if no one's seen them or they've only caught glimpses of them, so they usually run or they're killed. One of the two. So in that case, you kind of have to figure out. Well, I don't want to move, because if I do, then I'm going to spook them. They're going to run away. Then you got to come back. And if you kill them, one point to that is if you kill them, then you get a debuff, and the debuff says, "I killed the unicorn." So you go back, and if you talk to the guy, and he's like, "What the hell, man? Why'd you kill him?" Like, oh, sorry, sorry. So then it'll reset it, and then you can go back and try it again.
Is there a reset timer then?
Yeah. Okay. There will be a reset timer. We haven't decided exactly how long that's going to be, but I'm thinking one real day. So if you kill him, then you'll have to wait one real day, and then you can go back. And of course, the day-night system, I think, allows for us to be more flexible about when things show up and kind of how they do things. But that's the plan at the moment, and that's how that's going to work. But I think that should help people get out there and do stuff.
And treasures you've mentioned are another reason to get people out there. Everybody loves treasure.
Oh, of course.
So could you explain that a little further for us?
Treasure. So the idea is, people that there are people who like collecting things, right? And so there are treasures scattered about, and you actually have if you look at one of the screens on the Kickstarter page, there's the character sheet. But if you look on the top, one of the top buttons is a treasure. And that'll list all of the treasures that you found in the world. And so as you're wandering around out in the world, you can find things, chests and stuff that are hidden. Usually have bushes on top of them or something. But you can find those things, and those treasures pop up. And of course, some of them are in dungeons. So while you're in a dungeon, you wander around and you find, boom, there's some treasure there. And then as you collect them up, they end up in your book. This is one of the things that I think that players will be what drives that. Somebody is going to find it. Hopefully, they'll put it on the web or something. Hey, I found the chalice of Algramon, over there. So okay, great. So let's go get that, right? To tell other players where to go, and I think that that's good. The other things are so random that I don't think players can really tell players where to go to get that. But treasures are static; they're not going to change. So you don't have to worry about that. They'll be in the same place all the time. So that gives players a chance to kind of talk about it. But they'll end up on your list, and as you find them, it's more of a, wow, I found all of the things. But we're thinking about giving some EXP, some kind of EXP thing when you find them. So when you find them, they not only end up there, but you'll get some kind of EXP or monetary reward when you actually do it. But I'm still thinking about that because I want to get the feeling. I haven't implemented that system yet, but it's on the design doc, so we're going to do it.
Okay, so it's very different than loot. It's specifically stuff to collect for fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And so while someone's out there wandering, are there rare or powerful monsters out there?
Oh yeah, of course. There's just a lot of things wandering around out there, rare monsters and stuff. And the goal is for rare monsters is just to keep you on your toes. It's kind of like in WoW when you're playing and there's like an elite guy running around, and he's in a lobby zone, but it's an elite dude, and he's running around, and as your low level guy, you keep getting squashed by that guy because you were fighting something else, and he just comes over and kills you. It's kind of like that. But some of them will be planned. Some of them are actually part of quests and stuff. So they're out there somewhere, and they're powerful. But there'll be a little skull next to them. So when you target them, there'll be a little skull on the thing, and it'll let you know that that thing is something special. And either you want to try to tackle it or no, that's up to you. But But there will be some stuff. Oh, and they'll end up on your in your bestiary, so you'll be able to see them once you kill them, or well, once you kill them, then they'll end up in your thing. So, yeah, lots of little things like that.
Keep people moving out in the world.
Oh yeah. And if you want to collect up all of the enemies, then you'll have to wander around and find those rare monsters. And the other thing is those rare monsters do drop loot. So if you want to go, see if you can find something. And the other thing about that is some of those rare monsters might have blacksmithing plans or armor plans or something. So something that they have that you'll need to go and get. So you'll have to go find them anyway. Some of them only come out at night. Some of them are only during the day. Some of them are only in certain areas. So there's a lot of things going on, and I figure probably a lot of people will find a lot of them by accident. And it's one of those things that players can kind of converse with each other about what's the best way to handle that. But I'm going to leave that up to the players to figure that out.
Yeah. So let me say I'm not a fan of jump puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're horrible. They're the worst thing. Are there plans for that in this game?
No, you can't jump.
Okay.
In this case, Desi's can't jump. So there will be no jump puzzles. There will be some block pushing puzzles and things like that. So there will be some things, but basically there will be none of those kinds of jump puzzles. So you don't have to worry about trying to jump over the lava and you actually fall in. No, none of that stuff. I try to keep it relatively simple, so you're grounded. But that said, there will be ladders and things you can climb, and things like that. You can. So there's kind of a vertical game going on there too.
That's good. That was my next question: is how could we interact with the environment? What things are available, like swimming and stuff?
Oh yeah, swimming. That's going to be in there. Swimming and climbing and that kind of stuff. All that stuff is going to be there, so you don't have to worry about that. We'll have a lot of that. A lot of that stuff is something that we feel like adds something to it. It's not static in that way. People think that it's all about jumping, but I think other things affect that too. It's not just jumping. And jumping, I think, is just problematic overall. So, having to push a block and climb a ladder is much easier than jumping and falling into the water, and then we got to deal with the collision and all that stuff. We're not a big studio, and all of this stuff is already going to be, timely. Cost a lot, take us a lot of time to put in, but to have to deal with that too, I just don't want to do that. But the rest of the stuff should be fun. Laura Croft block pushing puzzles. Yay!
You don't want to fall through the world?
Not in particular. But yeah, I think there's a lot of variety there in exploring the world, and I think it's something I think that the players could have a lot of fun. Just screwing around and just seeing. And of course, there's also the just look at things, right?
Yeah.
I climbed the mountain, and at the top of the mountain, I'm looking down into the valley, and wow, that looks kind of cool. I'll take a screenshot, kind of thing. And I think, watching people play. Recently, people play. What's the name of that? Second Son for the PS4, Infamous.
Mm-hmm.
People took a lot of photos, in that game, just because, right? Because it was nice looking and stuff, and why not? So I kind of want the same sort of thing in Skullforge as you're wandering around and you go into some zone and you go, wow, that's kind of cool. That looks cool. I think I'm going to take a picture. That kind of stuff. Now I admit that from the top down angle, it does make it a little hard because you can't see the valley and stuff. But that said, I think even just looking at the screens that we have up there right now, I think you can still make the environment look really nice. And so maybe people just want to take some photos and just to go see what the hell is over there. So,
Yeah, because I like the desert one, but I also really like the one with the rock.
Mm-hmm.
And she's looking down into the valley below.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like the blur effect
The
we got
blur.
going on. It's pretty cool. So yeah, there's a lot of little stuff like that. And before we wrap this up, other thing I want to mention is also while you're wandering around in the world, you'll find like blacksmiths and people out there. They have a little cottage out in the world somewhere, and by helping those guys, what you can do is actually open up a blacksmith that might be able to help you. The blacksmith system or the way crafting works is something we'll talk about it another day. But those guys, by helping them, they can help you. And the thing is they're out in the world. They're hermits or whatever, right? So they're out in the world someplace. And as you're wandering around, you might accidentally stumble upon one. Now, of course, they're always there. So again, it's one of those things I think that the players can kind of help. Hey, the blacksmith that crafts such and such is over there, or this blacksmith whose level is whatever is over there. Then you can go there and find that guy and help him out, and that unlocks another blacksmith you can use to craft things. And I think that's something that has weight as far as just looking around and what you can do in the world itself.
Making friends in the world,
oh
basically.
yeah of course. The thing is at the end of the day, it should be noted that we just want players to enjoy wandering around and doing stuff. And as long as they can wander around and do stuff, then that's the most important thing to me. And I want to make that experience as fluid and as natural as we can. So you don't maybe you're wandering around, you don't even think about the fact that you're just wandering around looking for the whatever. Maybe you have a quest to go find the boogeyman or whatever, and you go find the boogeyman. But while looking for the boogeyman, you find Sasquatch. Wow, that's pretty amazing. So it's one of those things that that allows us to do stuff, and with it being able to rain, and so we'll have rain, and we'll also have day and night cycles and stuff. Then we can do this monster is only available when it's raining at night. So it's adds a lot of flexibility there, I think.
So it's more than just going from point A to point B.
Oh yeah, of course. And I think most of the time people talk about you can explore the world, right? I think a lot of times that means many players think that means I can just wander around out there and there really isn't anything going on, and I don't want that to be the case. That there are things out there that you can get involved in, but in this case the world is kind of your playground. Whatever whatever angle you want to take and wandering around out there, you can do that. But there are things that you can do and things that will further your character's progression, right? So I think that's an important thing. So yeah, whatever works. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. But I think people will enjoy it at the end of the day. I think people are going to enjoy that, just wandering around stuff.
Sounds like a lot to do.
Oh yeah. So that wraps that up. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line on Twitter at OMC_games, or send us an email at business at omc-games.com. Ugh.
I knew there was going to be that awkward pause.
Oh man,
you were going to confuse it with the other email.
Oh my god, so we've done the other podcast so many times that doing this was like, oh my god, it's not the Hyrocast, it's something else. So on that note, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. You guys have a great day, and let's hope that this Kickstarter is successful.
Spread the word.
Yep. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you next time.